Hey, everybody, and welcome to another workshop, webinar, whatever you want to call it, free workshop where John Bianchi and I are going to be talking about how to improve your Airbnb rankings and what the data says behind it. So first off, welcome, John. Thanks for doing this with me and sharing with other people. People are still joining. I see the count starting to increase. So I want to first take a moment, guys. If you have questions, put them in the comments throughout the entire presentation. We're going to take it how we receive it. Last time we did amenities, and I think that went well, right, John? Or
Oh yeah.
It just went a little longer than we expected. And won't, but anyway. So, John, welcome. Any welcoming words, anything like that? Nope.
No, yeah. Sorry, I didn't know. I thought I jumped ahead. I thought you were going to say something else. But yeah, appreciate it, Kenny. Thanks for doing this together, and really looking forward to get into the rankings and helping people increase their rankings and talking about all the different little tips and tricks and sort of the way to think about it as a whole. So definitely looking forward to it. It's always fun doing this. I love doing these workshops with you. So this is going to be a good one, and can't wait to get into it, man.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. One of the things, so guys, put in the comments too, if you don't mind, as we ramp up. The numbers have already doubled in like 30 seconds of people getting on. So, and that they will probably do that again. So, put in the comments where you're at, where you're calling from, where your properties are at. That's really important for us because with rankings, we talked about this with amenities too, but with rankings, some of the things that you do that impact your rankings are different per each market. Right, John?
Oh yeah. I mean, every single market's different, right? I mean, especially like they're all so vast and interchanging in the ways of what drives somebody to actually want to book a home in one market compared to another. And so naturally every single market's going to be a little bit different. So yeah, please share whatever market that you're calling from, where you have homes from. We love to be able to see that just so we can get an idea. I can see we got Broken Bow, Branson, 2 in California. Where in California exactly do you have those? Poconos, Nashville. We got some Coachella,
Blue
Austin,
Ridge.
Texas, Memphis, all these places.
Oh yeah, this is great. We got a lot of urban.
Yeah.
Buffalo and surrounding area. Well, what, Liz? Where we're at? That's where I'm located. I'm located in surrounding area, but I have properties in Buffalo. So
definitely your neighbor in some sort of way.
Yes. So great questions already coming through. So just a reminder, guys, housekeeping while we're going through this, put your questions in the comments. We will try to answer them as we go along. If it's something we got to take offline later, that's fine. We'll give you a way to be able to do that. But in this free workshop, we're going to be talking about how you can improve your rankings on Airbnb, VRBO, really any booking platform. So here's the thing. Yes, Airbnb has their own algorithm, VRBO has their own algorithm and different levers to pull. But in reality, there's like this center theme that I feel like, I'm witnessing a lot of people kind of forget about, and they focus on one thing that can try to boost them in the rankings. When in reality, we should probably be trying multiple things and checking our rankings over time. So, John, just to generically start out, what tools do you currently use to track your ranking or do, pay attention to ranking?
RankBreeze, without a doubt. Right. I mean, it's the number one tool. Let's just keep it simple. RankBreeze is the tool to use to keep track of, how well your listing is doing and how well all the other listings are doing that you're competing with. And understanding how to use RankBreeze is very important to keeping track of your listing.
Yeah.
So, keeping it simple.
Yeah. I also use RankBreeze, and we'll most likely pull up my RankBreeze account as well. There is another new one out there too. It's called IntelliHost. It's for Airbnb. They do things a little bit differently, so check them out as well. We're not associated with either one. Just want to let you guys access to the best options out there that you can do. So, we've already got some questions coming in, so let's jump right into it. I think we're ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think people are ready to go, man. So we might as well just get going.
Let me. All right, I'm gonna share my screen and we will get going. So let's do this and then present.
Awesome. We already, some people are starting to drop their questions in there. We will get to your questions as we continue through the presentation. We do have, something that we're going to be walking through. And as they come out, as these as we get to the certain points where your question is relatable, we will be answering it as we go along. If we miss anything, please just, put the question in there again, especially near the end of the presentation. Someone's asking what was the other name of there was RankBreeze and then the other app that you're using?
IntelliHost.
IntelliHost.
I put in the comments. Yeah, IntelliHost. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I see that.
it
Perfect.
connects directly to your Airbnb. And yeah, it's just a little different. So check them out. I know some people have some, like, not everybody loves RankBreeze, which is fine. I think it just depends. Airbnb's algorithm can mess up some markets and impact how effective RankBreeze can be. And so IntelliHost is another way that you could check out if you have or wanting to check out other technology. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So here's what we're going to overview. We're going to talk about. So number one, we need to talk about and understand the algorithm. So what is and we're going to keep saying Airbnb, but don't just think this is generic. So don't just think Airbnb, think other platforms as well, but we'll be mainly talking about Airbnb's algorithm. All right. Second, we're going to talk about listing optimization. So what can you do to your listing to make it improve in the rankings and get higher or even get to page one? Then we're going to talk about pricing and fees. So everyone's natural tendency to go, oh, wow, I'm ranked really low, is to drop your prices. All right. So that's why we're first going to talk about listing optimization, but then we'll talk about pricing and also fees as well, because you can lower fees, which can help increase your ranking, but that depends on the market. And we're going to talk about that. And then finally, at the end, we're going to talk about some other ways that you can increase or maximize revenue beyond rankings, because there's so many different ways to do it. So let's dive into it. Awesome. Okay. John, you kind of touched on this, but tell us, do the disclaimer this time.
All right. So we already, like you said, I already said it, but every single market's different, right? So every single market's going to have a different strategy, a different thing that matters, a different way of showing off your listing. Pretty much what that means is just like there's certain things in certain markets that matter more. And so if you can be more appealing towards those specific things, that will attract more guests, which will get you higher in the rankings, which will get you more liked, which will get you more bookings, right? So that's the general idea there. So every market's a little bit different. It doesn't work across the board is what we're trying to say.
Yep.
Does that work?
That's perfect. So keep that in mind. Yeah. So if we tell you a strategy, like, hey, if you drop your cleaning fee or lower it or whatever, that's kind of one of the bigger ones that, we'll talk about. But if you move your pictures this way or that, and then you go and you check your rankings and your rankings went down, it depends on your market, guys. So keep that in mind. Don't just think, oh, Kenny and John said this one thing, then I need to do that one thing, but try multiple things that we share with you, and not everything's going to work. That's the biggest thing. Not everything's going to work for your market. So something works for mine isn't necessarily going to work for yours. But it's important that you keep an open mind and the available strategies in your arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the algorithm and the ultimate goal of the algorithm. So the algorithm is basically the ranking system for Airbnb or the whatever the platforms is, but how they rank your property. So there are, I think I was speaking to a former employee of Airbnb, and they said there's like over 1,000 different little things that they look at in a listing to determine a ranking. However, certain things in that listing are more important than others. It's kind of like priority. And so those are the things we want to talk about. But knowing that there's 1,000 different things, what does that tell us right out the gate? That we need to make sure that we fill out as much as possible. And that'll be one of the things we talk about with the listing optimization, is making sure you're checking all the amenity boxes that you can offer, making sure you're filling out as many of the, the description and the long form description, all those other, captions under each of the photos and different things like that, because those little things add up and can impact your ranking. Now, are they going to swing you from page 3 to page 1? Probably not. It's going to be some other more impactful things, but just the little things are going to move you up a little bit higher and maybe get you to that next phase. And that's really what's important, I think, in this. John, you want to add anything to that, or feeling good there?
Yeah. So a couple things I want to add. So the first thing is that, when we're going through all these different things we're going to be talking about, Kenny has already kind of mentioned it, but there's, 1,000 of different little things that you can potentially be doing. Obviously, a couple are going to hold a huge weight over others, but we want you to be doing all of them and testing them all out within your market. That's the idea of what we're trying to get across, right? And so the idea of filling out every single last possible thing within your listing is just going to give the algorithm more data points that it can use to put you in front of more people, right? So you just want to have everything that you can possibly think of filled out in any sort of way. And then on top of that, you also want to keep checking to see if Airbnb adds anything new that you would then want to fill out as well. So every single time you hear about a new drop of something that has been announced and some new change, go and look to see if there's something that you can fill out on the actual on your actual Airbnb listing to then give the algorithm more data so that they can then continue to get you in front of more people.
Feed it. Yes. feed the monster of the Airbnb algorithm, right?
Yeah,
so give it
exactly.
everything you need to give it. Okay. So now I've already seen people, what's the highest impacting lever? What's the thing I need to know? How do I get that? I'm new and I'm on page 4 and like, I don't have any, I'm not having any bookings or whatever. What's the biggest thing? So here is the underarching theme that I know for sure that most hosts haven't grasped. So what I want you to do after this call, whenever, even a separate tab, I want you to go to Amazon.com and I want you to type in TVs. Okay. You go in TVs and look at the list. You'll see the ones that are sponsored. Okay. Whatever, they paid to be there. But if you scroll down and you start seeing the ones actually ranked, you'll see Amazon's Choice and you'll see all the other ones. What are you noticing about why those other ones are first? It's not because specifically of the ratings. It has a lot to do with the reviews, but the number of reviews and the popularity of that product that's being sold. So that product is probably selling thousands of units or whatever, you want to call it, thousands of TVs, we'll say. And that is probably why it's ranked the highest. Go to Google and type in fast food restaurants near me. You're not going to see the top rated fast food restaurants. You're going to see the most popular fast food restaurants near you. So it could have a really low rating, but still be at the top of the list. And it's because it's a popularity contest. Every single platform, Airbnb, VRBO, Google, Amazon, every platform out there is ranking things based off of popularity, because that's how they make their money. They want guests to book places that they want to book in, that they're most likely to book, I should say. So, if it's that place with the beautiful views and has the great pictures and the great pricing is the cheapest or whatever it is, they're going to rank that one the highest because that's going to make them the most money. So the ultimate lever and the ultimate goal and what you need to really think about when you think about increasing your rankings is that it is a popularity contest. You need to make your listing look popular. All right. And there's a number of ways to do this. So here are some of the biggest ways. And I know like bookings is like, oh, well, yeah, I'd love to get bookings. But when you get bookings, it looks super obvious that your listing is popular, right? So what are ways that you can get bookings? And then there's a bunch of little things. And that's really what we're going to be talking about. But getting, having a good rating. Obviously, that's important. We know that's important. Getting reviews, actually getting people to leave you reviews. If you're going, okay, Kenny, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Adding amenities, that's a no-brainer. But what are you doing individually in each of these areas to increase these? Are you adding amenities? Are you checking those boxes? Are you trying to incentivize your guests and get your guests to leave reviews? I know no one on here listening is 100% getting 100% of your guests to leave reviews. So what is that one thing you can do to get that one extra guest to leave you an extra review? Reviews are one of the things that have the biggest impact on your ranking. So the more reviews you can get, regardless of rating, believe it or not, regardless of rating, so the more reviews you can get, the higher probability of your ranking improving. So incentivizing your guests, communicating with your guests, being clear about that is critical. Obviously, if you're getting bookings, then this is going to show, hey, my listing is popular, therefore, rank me higher, and Airbnb will rank you higher because of that. John, do you have anything to add into this?
Yeah, I do have something I want to add, but do you want to talk about the long-term bookings and how that affects your ranking? I think this is a good time to talk about it.
I'll do this on the next one.
Okay. So then talking about the popularity contest, right? Think about it this way as well. So if you were to go and type in Airbnb.com right now, just that, right? And then go and look at the listings that are being shown right now. Every single one of the listings that they show has a money shot, right? Has a beautiful photo of either the cabin or the home or the backyard or something along those lines. And this is why we always say that, hanging lights are like one of the best amenities that you can possibly buy, because it creates this money shot for you, right? You want your listing to look good. You want it to look appealing, and you want to have that one money shot that pulls people in. Because if you get more people to click on your listing and actually review it, regardless if they're booking it or not, if you just have a lot of people who are checking out your listing, that's going to help you increase your ranking as well, because Airbnb is seeing that a lot of people are interested in your actual listing. Well, how do you get them interested? Have a really killer money shot, right? And if that means that, you have to go out and buy some hanging lights, put the hanging lights up over your fire pit, take a photo, and then make that your main thumbnail, you have to go out and try and do that. Additionally, if you're seeing your bookings drop a little bit, you should be trying out different photos as your first photo to figure out which one gets the best possible traction. And then for myself, when I had listings, when I would get the first one, I'd find a photo that did really well, but then I would actually change it up and see if another one would maybe even work better. And I would eventually figure out that, nope, this one photo is the absolute best, and that's the one I got to keep as my main photo at all times, right? And so popularity contest, you got to look good. You got to get people to click. Think about it like a YouTube thumbnail, right? People, that thumbnail has to look amazing for people to actually click on it and actually want to watch it. It's the exact same thing for people who are going to be booking an Airbnb. You've got to have that money shot, right? And one last thing I'll throw out there, and I talked about this, I think, in our last call, is that one of the absolute best photos that you can have is the hot tub with the steam coming off the hot tub and the golden hour going over the trees or the landscape or whatever it is, and you've got a part of the hot tub in it with the steam coming up and that in the background, right? Like that is an absolutely beautiful money shot. You can even put a person in there having a drink, and those listings always tend to do really, really well. And it's because so many people are clicking on them. It's getting booked. It's getting shot up on the first page, and not even just on the first page, but the top of the first page, right? So money shots matter is what I'm trying to get across.
I love it. We're going to talk more about too, like what kind of money shots, because there are, like John was saying, there are different money shots. What if you're in the middle of a city and you don't have a hot tub, or that's just not a thing where you're at? So like, what else can you do? So that we'll talk more about that in a second. But what I want you guys to understand, it's popularity. That's what you're focused on. How do I make my listing appear more popular to Airbnb or these sites? Okay, so here are things that decrease your rankings. And this is important as well. If you go stay at the property and you block dates. Now, block dates could be you staying at the property. It could be cross or direct bookings on your own personal websites. It could be, I got blocked on, I got a booking on Airbnb, so it blocked it off on VRBO or midterm rentals, long-term stays. We'll probably take a look at this if we have time. Is look at my actual rankings on one of my properties, and I'll show you where I took a midterm stay for a month in April, and it killed my ranking. So sure, I was 100% booked for that month, but I had to grind and try to get my ranking back up and let it climb back up, because I had not blocked dates, but even if it was a booking, there wasn't multiple bookings to my location. It wasn't appearing popular. People weren't talking about it. When I say people talking about your place, that means they're leaving reviews, which is the second point here, is if you get if no one's leaving you a review, they're not talking about your place. Therefore, it's not considered popular. So that's one of the levers. Bad reviews. Obviously, if you get a ton of bad reviews. Now, getting a 4-star every now and then isn't going to drop you. That's still getting a review, which is important. So it's not the end of the world, guys. When you look at the data and the insights on the number of reviews and the rating, the number of reviews is more important than the rating, believe it or not. Okay. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. We tested a couple times, and it's true for every single market. The number of reviews is more important than the rating. Now, does that mean you can go out and get 3 stars? No, that doesn't. You still need to provide a quality stay and try to be super hosts, because super hosts do make more money than non-super hosts. But the number of reviews, getting that review is actually just as beneficial as even just getting a 4-star. So keep that in mind. Don't, freak out if, I'm going to drop in the rankings because I got a 4-star. Poor pitchers. John just talks about this. We're going to dive into this more. And then pricing and fees. If you have an insane amount of fees and really high pricing and the rest of your competition is low, no fees at all, you're going to be ranked lower. And that's a big one. That's a really, really big lever that's being pulled. So is it the only lever? No, you don't have to drop all your prices all the time to increase your rankings, but it is one of the levers. All right. Anything, John? We good?
We're going to get into the pricing, which is one part that I want to talk a bit about. And so when we talk about you might have to lower your prices, it's not that you're don't think of it as decreasing your prices. You're just setting your prices what they actually should be in comparison to your competition, because you put them too high. So you have to bring it a little bit lower to get the actual bookings that you want to get. Right. So anyways, just throwing that out there. And maybe the exact opposite can happen as well. Just throwing that out there. Right. Or I'll talk about strategies on how to do that. So anyways, that's all I wanted to add.
No. Yeah, for sure. All right. John, you're up. I'll let you start with this one.
All right. So this is something that I learned from the great Danny Rustine with Optimize My B&B. This was the one thing okay, anyone who doesn't know Danny Rustine, he is the guy from Optimize Your B&B. He also just came out with another book called Profitable Properties. And he is like the king of optimizing your listing and learning how to get your listing to rank higher and do all these different things. And so I studied his work because all of my homes, when I was going into the winter for the very first year, stopped getting bookings. And I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know how to get those bookings. I was kind of freaking out, right? And so anyways, I read this book called Optimize Your B&B, and it's literally a step-by-step guide that teaches you how to optimize your listing, right? And we've talked on a couple of different things that are really important here, but just to touch on, so the description, which is the first thing that we have here, what you're trying to do for your guest, you got to think about it this way, and I think Danny does a great job explaining this, is that you have to give your guest, you have to be able to answer all of their questions and give them all the information that they possibly need to feel confident to be able to actually book your home. So they need to know everything that they possibly can need to know about your home, where it's located, what it looks like, how many, the size of the beds, what extra things that you might possibly have, what's included, what's not included. And that's where the description is going to help do that, right? It's going to help answer the vast majority of the questions that you're going to have. Additionally, it should sell them to want to stay there, right? So yes, you're giving them all the information that they need, but you're saying it in a way that sort of paints a picture of what their experience is going to be like. And I found that combination of those two, informative and selling them, is what allows you to get more bookings. Now, the photo arrangement, this is something that we'll get into again a little bit later, but I'm insane when it comes to photos. And honestly, I see this over and over and over again. People don't care about your bedrooms. They don't care about your dining room. They don't care about your living room. They care about the fun things that they can do at your listing. Therefore, put all of the fun things about your home at the very, very beginning. Yes, you want your first 5 photos to be like the best things about your home. But then once somebody clicks into your photos and starts going through them, every single fun thing about your place should be in the very top, right? So what I mean by that is, like, if you have a really entertaining backyard and there's a whole bunch of different like amenities and games and things going on there, and you what you want to do is you want to show off all those things. Then if you have like a really cool game room, you want to then show off the game room. And then once you've gone through everything that's really, really fun about that home, that's when you get to like the kitchen, the living room, and then you lead into the bedrooms and the bathrooms, which are the thing that people don't really care about all that much. They care about what are the fun things. And I'm telling you right now, I've gone through thousands of listings, and the arrangement of the photos 100% matters. And I also want to mention that there's a filter on Airbnb which allows you to organize all of your photos. And I think that's one of the worst possible things that you can have on your listing, because what it does is it organizes it based off of, like, it goes living room, kitchen, dining room, and it's showing all the boring things first. And so at TechFester, we don't have that on any of our properties. We have them, they're just open, so we can put them whichever order we want, and it's always showing off the most important and best possible things. Now, responses. Sorry, go ahead, Kenny.
Quick, I just want to say on that photo arrangement, a lot of people make this mistake. Each of you right now, I mean, people can do this right now. Go on there, go on your Airbnb. what are your first 5 photos? Are you trying to do like the, hey, come walk through my house and follow it along? You shouldn't do that, like John was saying, in the first 5. I think a lot of people do that, where it's like you've got your hero image, you know, and then maybe like another really cool one, and then you like go straight into like the kitchen and the bedrooms and the dining rooms. Like that stuff doesn't matter. People aren't coming there for that. So show your top 5, because a lot of times guests aren't looking beyond, you know, the 5th or 6th image just to click into your property. They'll do that after they click, but you want them to click, right?
So you're yes, but also one more thing I want to add on that. You're talking about the first 5 photos. I'm talking about once you've clicked in all of the photos in a row, right? So you know what I mean? Like, yes, your first 5, you want there to be the first 5 so they actually click. But then once you've clicked, still show off all the most important things that people actually care about. And that's going to help them when they're going through it to see all the fun things about your listing. Can I show off a listing real quick to kind of show exactly what I mean by that?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. And then while he's doing that, I'll answer some of the questions here. So, so Sean, yeah, sorry, Sean, I don't hope my question didn't seem like super aggressive or anything, but yeah, so Sean's saying he's got 90% of his guest leaving reviews, which is awesome. It's a really high percentage. And there's little things. Try texting. You may already do that or not, but seriously, try texting, and try texting the day before they actually check out to ask them to leave a review. That's one really high converting method.
Kenny, can you see my screen?
Nope. Let me add. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, you can go ahead and answer that next question.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody asked, which we'll kind of talk about in a second, but how do you test for photo response? John, do you actually want to answer that one? I have an answer too, but I'm sure yours is just as good.
Yeah, I was gonna. So mine is really, it's a matter of like, you'll notice it's not a perfect formula. You will notice it when you when you put a certain image as the first photo. You will notice either your rankings stay or increase or stay where it is, or you'll notice it decrease. But mainly what you're going to notice is the bookings that are going to be coming through. They're either going to be starting to come through a little bit quicker or slower, right? And so it's sort of there's a part of it that's just a gut feeling, and there's a part of it where you can actually see the listing increase or the ranking increase. But you just need to test out the photos, give them a little bit of time, give them like week 2 to kind of get a feel of how the bookings are coming through. And if nothing is coming through on a photo and your ranking's going down, then it obviously isn't a good photo. Switch it out and try another one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen, Kenny?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is what I want to show you guys, right? The order of the photos. The first 5 photos that we have here kind of show off the home, and they show off a couple of cool features within the home, right? But then once you open this up and you go through it, what you're going to notice is that every single photo that we're showing off is something fun, and does not have to do with the interior of the home, because this is what people are booking your home out for. They want to see these fun things that they can do within your home that they're not going to be able to do. These are all competitive advantages, and you want to show them off before everyone else. Everyone has the kitchen. Everyone has the bedrooms. They know they're getting a home with bedrooms, right? But you want to show all of this off first. You can even see here that with this listing, we actually show off the bedrooms before we show off the living room and the kitchen. And the reason being is because they have an extreme theme and really cool design for all the bedrooms. Therefore, it's more intriguing and more important to show those off before actually getting into the actual home. If you've noticed, we have now just gotten to the living room, and we haven't even seen the kitchen yet, and we're on photo. So the kitchen shows up on photo 60 of 73 because it's just a kitchen. I think we have a few photos of it, but not much, right? And then we end off with a lot of great photos here at the end too. This is all going to help people be intrigued with your listing and want to book your home. And once again, popularity contest, it's going to get them to want to actually book your home. So you want to get those click-through rates.
So Cyrus Julian, I just discovered this feature. You can show this. John, do you want to answer this one while I'm pulling back up my screen?
Would you guys recommend an outdoor shot as main photo? Then that's the fun thing. We've got an outdoor deck with view of the lake. Yes, without a doubt. If you have views of the lake from an outdoor deck, then yes, without a doubt, that would be, if that's the coolest thing that is from your listing that people want or that they're going to be experiencing, show that off at the very beginning, because that's what people are going to want to see. That's an easy one.
And I think, Chris, this ties into your question here. What about activities outside of the property? 100%.
You think so? Okay, wait. Is it the way I'm hearing that, understanding that question is that he's saying like, should I show off the hiking trail that's down the road?
Well, it depends. Depends on the hiking trail down the road. I do think though you should show things to do in your area as potentially one of your shots, depending on your property. If you have a lot of things, so like your properties you just showed there, John, if you have a lot of activities and things to do in your property and you don't need to show, hey, yeah, like this is what we do. That one was in Scottsdale, right?
Yeah.
We're okay. Yeah. So like that's a perfect example. But like for my property, for example, where it's located, I'm showing, so I've got it, I think my third image. So I've got views of the lake, and like a game room, but my third image is the wineries, which are like literally by, like 5 minutes away, because I want to show that proximity. Okay. And I know people are booking to go to those things. And so I am showing that. But honestly, guys, going back to what John said earlier, test it out, throw it up there. If you're not seeing traction from it, then it's probably not making a difference. So don't take what I say or what John says as the word, and this has to be it, and that's the only way. Test it out, see what works, know that you can do that, and that can impact things.
Yeah. So the only thing I would recommend is don't make it your first photo, because that's not, people are looking for your home. They're looking to understand like what they're going to be booking. If you show them a hiking trail down the road, that's not really going to be pulling them in. I've never seen that actually work. Just throwing that out there. If you want to test it, you can test it, but I've never seen that one work. And then sure. Mike just asked if you're in a condo unit, should you show off the amenities within the condo, such as like the pool and the gym? And I think like what you just said there, Kenny, in the first 5 photos, that makes a ton of sense, right? You're like, yep. Hey, you're in this little, condo, but you're also having these additional things, right? So yeah, also and test it out.
If you look at the ones, so I was recently looking at properties in Kissimmee, the condos in Kissimmee, and looking at, you've got these like 2-bedroom condos that were, they're the same exact condo in the same complex, but one's making $10,000 or $20,000 more than some of the other ones. And why is that? And it was because they were showing those resort shots, whereas the other ones were focused on like the living room and the kitchen and just those basic things. And so that one condo's ranking was much higher than the other ones as well. Therefore, it got more bookings because of those extra activities and things. So it just, remember, people are there for the experience, and you want to capitalize on what experience. And if your property offers an experience like the one in Scott, that was a beautiful property, John. Show it off. Show those things off to people, and make them feel like your place is that experience on top of why they're there.
I just want to sort of reiterate again, guys. It's a popularity contest. That is the main thing that we want you to get across from this, right? There's 1,000 different little things that you could be doing, but it's a popularity contest. That's the one thing you need to keep at the top of your mind at all times. You could also think of it as you're in a business with a lot of other businesses that you're competing against, and you have to be more appealing than those businesses. And so then therefore you have to do things to stand out to get above everybody else, right? And yes, all these little things matter, like having your listing completely filled out. But if people aren't clicking on your listing, and if people aren't booking your listing, and if people aren't reviewing your listing, then none of that really matters, right? And it all starts with being able to pull people in.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. So last question, and then we'll keep moving here. So if we don't have Rank Breeze, how do we know where our ranking is? Incognito mode, that's a great way to do it. So for those of you who don't know what incognito mode is, go to Google Chrome, and you can select up at the top right, the 3 dots, incognito window, and you can then go to Airbnb, type in your market name, and see where you rank in there. One thing you need to be cautious about is and a lot of people don't know this, but Airbnb doesn't define, like if you type in, for example, I have properties in Buffalo, New York. If I type in Buffalo, New York, I'm going to see properties outside of Buffalo show up in the ranking. So Airbnb is taking like a map view of the top properties in that area that they see in their algorithm. So I'm not just competing with properties in Buffalo. I'm competing with properties outside of Buffalo too, in the suburbs and even areas on the lake that aren't even in the vicinity that Airbnb deems as, you know, part of that area. And so even though it's a separate individual market and, you know, we understand that geographically. So keep that in mind. When you type in a market and you don't see yourself on the first couple, you know, pages, that you're competing against this wide area as well. So that's one way to do it. Anything to add to that, John?
No. The only thing we have left here is captions, and those refer to the captions underneath your photos. This is once again what I was coming back to, where you have to give all the information possible, answer all the questions that your guest is going to have as they're reviewing your listing to get them to officially book, right? Without having to reach out to you to just book the home. And having a description underneath every single photo is one of the easiest and fastest way to convince somebody to stay at your place, because as they're going through the photos, they go, oh, is that a king bed? Yes, it is, right? What size is that TV? It's a 75-inch. It's a huge TV, right? Like, those are the things. Does that table have a leaf that we can put in there to make it bigger? Yes, it does. And there's foldable chairs in the closet. They're not going to be in the photos, but you're writing it all in there. And so the captions really do help you get more bookings, more people closing on your home. So I'm trying to get across.
Yep.
Cool.
I like it. Moving on. Photos. All right. So this did come from Daniel from Optimize My B&B. I searched so hard for this YouTube video this morning. I probably spent an hour trying to find it on this video. I really wanted to share the link. If I find it, I'm going to send it out to everybody because it's probably one of the coolest videos about photos. John's the man about photos. He knows better than I do, but this video I watched Daniel talk about photos, that there are certain photos, hero images is what I'm talking about, that are more attractive. And we know that recently Airbnb has changed their algorithm, and somehow they've claimed this. Somehow they are looking for certain colors and contrasts and things in photos that can impact your rating. And one of those things, and I've got it kind of out of order, are, you know, having some sort of water in your shots. If you go to Airbnb and you're looking at a lot of the properties there that just pop up on the page, you don't put in your market, you just type in airbnb.com and you're looking through the listings. A lot of them have water shots because humans, and we want to be on water, beaches, lakes, rivers, whatever that is, even if it's a mountain with a stream, like, people love that and they want to see that in their images. And so shots with water, or like, you know, big blue sky, those kind of things that show the property, kind of like what you're seeing here, is very eye appealing, catching, and helps you in your ranking. So nailing the photos in that hero image. Something that Daniel talks about too are some shots that do well, and you have to be careful with it, are drone shots, like overlooking the property and kind of, you know, out, like if it has views, like catching those views, like long range, distant things that are eye appealing and catching, the audience. Dusk shots. So you can see, like, this is a good, you know, evening shot for this particular property. Or, you know, sunrise too. That's another one I've seen that's been pretty popular that looks attractive. It's a lot of exterior. We want to get the exterior somewhat of the property. And this last one here, and I'm moving quickly. I'll pass the baton over to you in a second, John, because I know you're moving your chair a little bit there because this is your thing. But
no, you're good. I'm loving it.
Yeah. But having, like, so if you're in a city, obviously, like, you're not going to be on water. You're not going to have, you know, you might not even have amazing views, but you want to take photos with being able to see out the windows and have light coming in. You want to have that brightness, and you want to be able to get that contrast of the interior with the exterior. If the exterior has views or like greenery or something, that makes it even better. I've got an example of this in the next slide, that it's or I'll just go ahead and show it and we'll come back to this one. But, like, here's an example of what I'm talking about in this city. So, like, obviously this is like top of the tower, but you've got the inside, and then you can see this amazing view on the outside. So even if we pretend that there was no view at all and it was just like some trees or like some bushes or whatever, and it was still bright and nice, that is more popular in terms of the rankings and where this falls and attractiveness in Airbnb. So look at the images. Like, all I'll say before I pass this on back to you, John, is, like, go into your market. type in type in your market in Airbnb and just look through what are the images, what type of images or photos are people have as their hero or their first image that stand out and are ranked the highest. Like, can you do that? Can you replicate that style, that format, whatever that is? And if you can, it will help you rank higher.
Love it. That's awesome. And just thinking about what, to kind of continue with what you just said there about the cities, right? And talking about, having a home within a city, most of mine were in Chicago. And one time what I did was I reviewed everybody else's photos to kind of see what they all looked like. And what I noticed was that almost every single one of them was a living room shot. And when it's a living room shot, it's always a really wide shot. And then the photo that you're seeing as you're going through is a really small image. So it's kind of hard to see any detail. And so what I actually ended up doing was in every single one of my homes, I had an accent wall that was like a dark full color within the bedroom. And so I made that my main image for almost every single one of my homes, because as people would scroll through, they would see all these like sort of white living rooms. And then all of a sudden there'd just be like a blue square, right? And the blue square would be mine with the home. So it would kind of stand out from everybody else as they were scrolling through. Just something to throw out there for people who don't have an amazing backyard or aren't on the water or something along those lines. Just a little tip there you can kind of think of. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say
no.
Okay. There's a bit of a lag. That's fine though. But you guys notice how much we're talking about photos? Do you notice that about half of this has just simply been talking about the photos and making sure that you have the right photos and the money shots? It's all about that popularity. It's all about those clicks. Okay. So one thing I want to do, Kenny, I'm going to share my screen again. All right. And I'm going to show off these two homes. And I actually made a presentation about it, made a video about it literally last night because I came across it yesterday, about two homes that are almost identical, but one is making $11,000 more. And the only reason is because of the photos. So let me show you what I'm talking about so you can get an understanding. I apologize to anybody who's already watched the video, but I'm going to go in a little bit more in depth on this. Kenny, I've got it up and running now. Let me know when it's sharing.
It's sharing. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So take a look at this home, right? This is one of the best things as somebody who loves, one of the best pieces of data that you can get, because we have two almost identical homes, but they're not done the exact same all the way through. And so we can see what the little differences are. And we know that those little differences is what's causing the revenue to either be increased or decreased, right? So I want to point out, obviously, it's a nice big home. We're in Dallas. You can see right there. It's a 4-bedroom that sleeps 16 plus people, and it's hosted by Scott. If you look at the interior design, it's got a nice big couch in the living room. It's got nothing going on in the backyard. Pretty solid looking place, right? Then you have this one, another very large home. It's got 16 plus guests, 4 bedrooms, and it's hosted by Scott. The design of it is fairly similar. If I get into the photos here and you go look at the backyard, there's nothing going on in the backyard, just like there's nothing going on in the other one. It sleeps 16 people, so almost every single room has double beds all the way through. And it's got, the big size living room as well, nice kitchen, just like the other one. But what I want you to realize is that this one here is making $11,000 more a year. And I can guarantee you the only reason is because of these photos. They're really well done, clean, crisp photos. You can see that the way they're put together. I'm going to show off 2 photos that are very, very similar. But you can kind of see all the differences between them. So take a look at this photo here, okay? This photo shows off the entire kitchen really, really well. It's also level. So this is very leveled out. Yes, a little bit is cut off, but we're seeing the vast majority of what we want to see, right? Now, when we look at this photo here, the whole thing is on an angle. It's dark. It's a little bit blurry. Almost none of the kitchen is being showed off here. I actually don't know what the focal point of this image is, because when you look at it, really what you see is this here, and this kind of looks like a mess, right? So what I'm trying to get across is that this is an absolutely beautiful example of a home that is making $11,000 less because they took worse photos. And so this is proof that a photo shoot can make you $11,000, right? So if we're talking about listing optimization and trying to create a beautiful listing, what's better than creating, beautiful photos that's going to allow you to do really well? So just want to kind of start off with that, or mention that before going into any other detail. Kenny, do you want to bring up the presentation?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about showing my listing, but what
were you going to say?
No, I was thinking about showing my listing, but I'm like, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I love my cover photos. I had like different guys photos. The return on investment there is just so high. Like every time I for all my properties, I have at least 2 photographers come out. Like, and then one of my properties, I'm going to get a third because I just didn't even like what the first 2 did. Like they're good, but like, it just wasn't like nothing that I fell in love with, which is you really want to have that photo that you're like, yes, because that's really what's going to be your money shot. Let's
mentioned
go ahead.
Really quick. One last thing on photos and we'll get into pricing. So someone just mentioned that finding a photographer who understands how to take STR photos is really hard and tricky. And I 100% agree. And even my photographer that I use for all of my listings did not know how to properly do it. And so I used to have to go there with every single home that we were getting and walk him through it and kind of educate him on what made the most sense. And eventually over time, he kind of figures it out. I have a 40-minute video talking about how to do a proper photo shoot on YouTube that walks you through step by step with a guide that you can download that you can read through and send to your photographer, have your photographer watch it, and that they will have a better understanding of how to do a proper photo shoot for an Airbnb. Cool. Let's stop talking about photos before people kill us.
I know, right?
They're probably
yeah, pricing. Let's talk about pricing. So pricing is probably one of like the most, the first lever that everybody tends to pull because it's the easiest. Oh, well, my prices are, too high and I need to lower my prices to attract people to book. So that could be the case, but it might actually be your fees. What I mean by that is your cleaning fees. When was the last time that you went into your market and evaluated what people are charging for cleaning fees? Okay. There's always ways that you can like mask some of your fees into your ADR as well, if that's possible. So lowering your cleaning fee and increasing your average daily rate so that you can still pay your cleaners and you're not losing that money, but the guest isn't paying as much in fees and that looks better and more appealing to the guest. If you do things like hot tub fee, grill fee, other additional fees, which probably most of you listening don't stop doing that right now. Just bake it into your ADR. We are not Vacasa. So, so don't charge additional fees unless it's like resort or something like that, where, you have to charge that. So be mindful of those. But listen, a couple months ago in March, there were a lot of people, there was this big push to drop the cleaning fee and that would increase your rankings. And I saw that work for some, and I saw it, some other people, it didn't work at all. So this goes back to the beginning thing of, if you do this and this doesn't work, don't coming back to us. We're showing you a bunch of different ways, but it just depends on your market. So you really it's an option, a tool in your arsenal that you can try. When you try these things, I recommend making one adjustment, giving it a week and seeing what happens, or at least give it a few days and anything that you do to see if there is an adjustment in bookings or rankings or whatever that may be, because that might, if you just change a bunch of different things, you won't really know what it was that made the difference. So that's really important. Let's talk about pricing adjustments. So number one, you need to make sure your pricing is on par with your competition. If you just have price labs and set it and forget it, you're probably priced way too high. And if you're like, I don't have any bookings and I'm using price labs, you need to compare your pricing to your competition. Where are they priced at? That's going to be the biggest thing. I found I wasn't getting bookings at the beginning of this year, and I found that I was 20% higher than everybody else. So I dropped my rates down. I was then I went to 5% higher, and I started getting bookings again. And all of a sudden my rankings started to increase as well. And, so on and so forth. So you can adjust your pricing. You can do the Airbnb promotions. Now, if you are using OwnerRez or some other, it depends on the software, and you do you try to do a promotion in that software, it's not going to show up as an Airbnb promotion in Airbnb. Therefore, it's not going to really help your rankings. But if you do an Airbnb promotion in Airbnb, that can help your rankings as well. So if you're going to considerably discount a particular week or whatever, maybe you got a last minute cancellation and you're in a beach market for next week, do an Airbnb promotion, because that can immediately help boost you in the rankings. Final piece, word of wisdom. A lot of people don't understand this, and I am going to pull up one of my properties here. So this is one of my properties that you guys can, or wait, nope, just kidding. It's not sharing the right screen. Let me do this again. Sorry. Let's do entire screen. Here we go. Okay. So this is one of my properties in Buffalo. So, you know, I've got this. This is one of my favorite shots, the couch. By the way, greenery. This is a huge one. Add some greenery, even if it's like fake plants. All of these plants, this one's alive, but it's dead now. But we have a fake one now that looks just like this. All of these plants you're seeing here are fake, but they look real. So it's worth it. But the greenery adds some color to the image as well. And you can do that for apartment style places. I'm not saying this is like the perfect or even the same quality as like John's properties, Techfester, but this place rocks it for how much I bought this property for. So, and I'm like in the 95th percentile for revenue. So I'll take it. But anyway, that's for the photos. But what I want to show you guys is like a lot of people think that this number in Airbnb is your average daily rate. And that is not true. This number is a lowered price. It's a lowered night, which is advantageous for you to go into your calendar into the next month or two. Keep in mind, month or two, and drop one of these less popular dates at a lower rate. This will help your ranking. This is a simple hack. Just go in, select one day in Price Labs or whatever pricing tool you're using for your pricing and drop that rate down. Don't put it at 0, but put it kind of low compared to your other prices, because my prices in the summertime, let me see what they are for whatever this is. Watch me hopefully be right on this. $241 a night. And that was a Sunday to a Thursday. All right. That's not the Friday, Saturday popular ones. So I've got somewhere baked in here a night that's like 150, 151. So that appears popular and raises higher if someone's not searching specific dates in Airbnb. That gets my ranking higher. So that's super simple. Everybody can do that right now as we're talking and add that in there. I just wanted to throw that in there. That shows you this is not the average daily rate. This is, the first price they show there is the lowest price that you have available to attract and entice people. So use that towards your advantage. John, do you have anything you want to add about pricing?
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to share my screen to be able to do this again. But I always struggle to try and explain this properly. But it's sort of a way that you need to think about pricing when it comes to your home. And I'm not going to get into every single last detail, but just think about it this way. Okay. If you're walking down an aisle in let's say a grocery store, right? And you're in the chip aisle, when you're looking at those prices, almost every single chip is priced roughly around the same amount. Right. And the ones that are, like higher end are going to be a little bit more expensive. And the ones that are less, that are like name brand not name brand ones are going to be a little bit cheaper. Right. And they're all priced properly. You're never going to see like a no name being more expensive than Lay's. It just doesn't make any sense. People wouldn't buy it, right? And when you're standing in a grocery store aisle, that is all very easy to see and it's clear because it's all right in front of you and you can see all of those prices, right? You need to realize that your Airbnb is this. You need to think about your Airbnb in the same way. The pricing of your Airbnb in the exact same way. Your home might be the Lay's chip that is a little more expensive than the no-name brand, right? However, you might have the no-name brand and you're pricing yourself as the Lay's chips. And what I'm trying to get across is that you need to be able to figure out where you stand against all of the other Airbnbs that you're directly competing with and figure out how to properly price yourself with those homes. And if you can just keep that one thing in mind as you're going out there and trying to price your homes, that's going to make a world of a difference to the bookings that you're going to be getting. Because some people might be saying, hey, I'm not getting any bookings. And you're like, oh, I'm going to lower my rate. And then all of a sudden you start getting bookings. Well, the reality is you just lowered your rate to where you actually should have been in the first place, right? Because all the other homes that are at that price look a lot like yours. And now you're in your competition field, right? It's not like you went below everybody else. You just went to where you should have been in the first place. And the opposite is true too. If you're getting way too many bookings, it's because you are super cheap. You're the Lay's chip that has lowered your price to the no-name brand and everyone's buying you up. You're on sale, right? So why wouldn't they? And so what I'm trying to say is that if you just keep that logic in mind that you have to price your home properly and be realistic about your listing, right? Know what you have and know what you don't have. Know who's better than you, and don't believe that you're better than them just because you believe it and it's your baby and it's your home, right? Know that your home doesn't offer as many amenities or isn't as nicely designed or whatever it may be, or might not be as big, and lower your price in comparison to that person. Now, that's the logic that I want you to think of whenever it comes to your pricing. How you can very easily do this and ensure that you are staying competitive is with RankBreeze, okay? And so if I go over here onto RankBreeze, Kenny, can you share my screen again?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Let me know when it's shared.
Yep, it's shared.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a section on RankBreeze which is not talked about enough and should be talked about all the time. I think Price Labs might have something like this as well, Price Labs. But I find RankBreeze to be very convenient. So what you're looking at right now is you have this is Kenny's listing. So I'm on Kenny's stuff right now. So this is Kenny's listing right here, right? And then this is how much his home got booked out for June 23 of 2023, right? That Friday night, that Saturday night. Now we can see all of his other pricings right here for every single day that he has, right? Then all of these right here are people that are very, very, very competitive to Kenny's listing. So they would be a very similar style, similar number of bedrooms and bathrooms, similar location. All the things are very, very similar. And then what we can see is how well they are, or what they are priced in comparison to what Kenny is priced. And then from there, Kenny can determine, should I increase my price to compete directly with this person, or is my home slightly better and I can put it higher than them, therefore allowing me to get a better booking. So as you can see here, Kenny believes that his home is better than this home here because they're going for $89 a night, but he's up at $123 to $112, right? And so you can use this to, once again, this is going to allow you to figure out are you a Lay's chip, and get all the other brands of the Lay's chips in here as well, and make sure that you're priced properly across the board. And then this is going to make sure that you are pricing your home at the rate that it should be priced at, and that's what's going to allow you to get in front of more people, get more viewings, to get more clicks, to get more people to booking your home, to getting more people to reviewing your home, right? And one last little strategy that I'm going to throw in here is that what I always like to do is put a couple of listings that are better than mine. I like to put a few, like 3 to 5 listings that are very similar to mine. And I like to put a couple at the bottom that are worse than mine. And that way I kind of have a range, because sometimes you can look at a listing and be like, oh, I'm better than this. And then you go and put it, $100 more. But then if you have listings that are better than yours, you'll realize that they're at that exact same price and you have to lower yours a little bit so that you're at the proper price that you should be at. So that's RankBreeze in a nutshell. Without getting too into it, and how you can think about your pricing, and how if you do that, it'll affect your pricing and your ranking and everything along the lines of that as well.
Yeah, no, that was great, John. I appreciate that. Guys, I want to kind of wrap things up. We've got a few questions we'll hit in a second, but let's kind of recap everything. So first off, what we talked about at the beginning was, we really emphasize that it is a popularity contest, okay? You want to make your listing appear popular, all right? How do you make your listing appear popular? That's the magical question. We talked the ways were photos, listing optimization, so filling out everything you need to do. If there's any amenities that you haven't added or they've recently added in Airbnb, check those boxes. Make sure you've got everything covered, captions under your photos. We emphasized photos is huge. That's really like one of the biggest key components. Another one too that I really want to really hone in on are the number of reviews that you're getting. Make sure you're getting a high percentage of your guests to leave reviews. There's multiple ways to do that, through communication and asking guests to leave your reviews, text messaging guests, don't overdo it, but seed it from the beginning. Talk about a 5-star stay. I even see some people put in their Wi-Fi network is 5-star stay, things like that, where you're just like telling them subliminally, you're going to give me a 5-star. But you're going to ask for it eventually. You're prepping them for that, and you'll get the reviews, and reviews increase your rankings and show popularity. Then we talked about pricing and the different fees to watch out for and ways you can change your pricing to boost yourself up in your rankings. And so anyway, there's a lot. So we talked about a lot of little things, and we talked about some big things. And so there's always something. If you're sitting there like, well, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried all these little, some of these different things. I guarantee you there's one or two things that we talked about today that you could go back, sit back on and go, you know what? I could play with this a little bit, and it most likely will help you in your rankings. Wrap up because I do. There we go. I was gone and then now I'm back. I want to show you guys.
I think we're losing Kenny right now.
Just your ranking.
Kenny, you keep going in and out. We might have lost Kenny. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. Yeah, Kenny, you there?
Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I was like,
seems like you're back.
All right. I'm going to skip straight to it then.
Okay, let's get into it.
So, all right. John and I, this Saturday, this week, are hosting an event, and I'm going to put this right here in the chat, or not in the chat, in the banner. We're hosting an event to help you understand how to maximize revenue. We just talked about ranking, which is like part one of, really 7. I mean, there's really 3 here with the ranking, but amenities, design, decor, photo shoots, like understanding and showing you examples, kind of what we talked about today. We spent an hour talking about rankings. We're going to go through each of these different topics for an entire day on Saturday. And we want you guys to be there because we know that it can make you money. John, what do you want to say about this?
So much to say, guys. I'm so excited. This is an event that I've been wanting to put on for quite a while. And when Kenny, approached me and asked like, hey, should we talk about this? I got genuinely giddy and excited because these are all the little things that people don't realize. And it's kind of like interesting how people don't realize how easy it is to make more money with your listing. When you've studied thousands and thousands of listings like Kenny and I have gone through, you start to realize what people are doing consistently across the board that's allowing them to make more money. And then you start to apply those things and you start making more money. And it's kind of just a beautiful thing, right? Well, now Kenny and I have teamed up together and we're going to go for 8 hours straight, probably longer. And we're going to cover all these different topics in as much detail as we possibly can so that we can give you something that is deliverable that you can go out and do to your listing. Some of it is going to be for free that you can do right after the event or even during the event, and it's going to make you more money. And that's the whole purpose of this, right? I even literally got an email this week that I posted on my story on Instagram about somebody who listened to what I had said and went out and got new photos, added a couple of amenities, arranged their photos in a specific way, and they've now are getting a higher occupancy at a higher average daily rate. If you want proof of that photo, I can send it to you. What I'm trying to say is that the stuff that we're going to be teaching is going to be making you more money, and we are excited as hell to tell you all about it and get into it. So, Kenny, is there anything else that you want to throw in on that? Because otherwise, I'm just going to keep going.
No. So, guys, when is it? So it's going to be this Saturday. It's going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So it's going to be 8 hours of in-depth, like hand-holding, walking you through everything. We've limited the number of seats, so we're not taking everybody. And we really want to show you and walk you through the process with legit examples. We're not doing this to, for our own game. We're doing this for you guys. We're doing this to help you guys understand what you can do to maximize revenue. Right now is the time to start thinking about this stuff. Not after the summer when you have no bookings and you're going, hey guys, what can I do? What can I do? Sure, we can tell you everything, but it's too late. You're going to miss out. People are booking for September, October, November, December right now. They're not booking. Sure, they might book last minute too, but it's going to be at a lot lower rates. What can you do today to extend your peak season into the shoulder season? That's what we're focused on. Sure, there's things, we could raise rates today and talk about the gloriness of the summer season and how great it is. But what can you do in the slow season to really maximize your revenue? Because that's when it actually happens. Not during the peak season, but during the slow season. And so that's what we're going to show you guys. And so you're going to be able to walk away with data, knowledge, confidence. I think that's probably the biggest one, to know what you need to do and the strategies you can deploy to increase revenue. And guess what? Not all of them involve you going out and buying a hot tub or a pool or, even getting a new photo shoot. I mean, we probably recommend that, but you don't have to do that. Some of the strategies we're going to talk about are free. I think John mentioned that earlier. Like, just do these things and it could save you and actually make you money in the process. So I just want to emphasize that, like, it's literally for everybody who has a property who wants to get more bookings and maximize their revenue. If you're a set it and forget it person, don't come to this event. But if you're really trying to maximize your revenue and really boost your investment and your ROI, this is for you. So we've heavily discounted it so we can get as many people, in terms of like not trying to price people into doing something like this. We really want to make it affordable for everybody and provide valuable education to you. So that's why we're doing it so low. But check out the website below, strdatahost.com, maximizing revenue event, to learn more details about it. But it's this Saturday. We want to see you guys on there. John, close us out, man.
Man, I mean, like, just guys, buy your ticket right now. It's coming up on Saturday. Set your alarms to be getting up bright and early, to be, have your coffee, have your breakfast, that you're ready to go. Go out and buy a new notebook that's going to be fresh so you can take all of the notes that you can possibly go through, maybe a new pen as well, because we're going to go for 8 hours straight on some of the stuff that's going to make you a ton of money. Like, it's just going to, I'm so excited. One of the little last thing I want to mention about it, right, is that even if you're listening right now, is let's say it's making you like $10,000, $20,000 a year in profit, and you're pretty happy with the amount of money that you're making, right? If you can figure out a way to just increase that revenue by $5,000, $10,000, that's all pure profit, right? And we're going to show you ways to do that. We're going to teach you ways that we have done that have worked, that are going to allow you to do that. And so let's say that you're already making $10,000, or let's say $20,000 a year, right? And you're trying to decide, should I buy a hot tub? Should I install a pickleball court in the backyard? Should I take a new photo shoot? We're going to be able to answer all those questions for you to help you understand how to best invest your money back into your property to increase the amount of money that you're making, so that you can increase the amount of money that goes back into your pocket, so you can have an even better cash flowing property than you did before. For $397, you're going to make that back with all of our free stuff that we're going to teach you. And then anything that you want to invest, above and beyond that, by all means, you can go ahead and do it, and you'll have the confidence to actually be able to do it. So guys, this is going to be a really good event. I'm extremely excited for it. I hope to God you guys are all there and you see this. Kenny and I have been more than thrilled to be able to do this for you. We've been working quite a while to bring this together. And so, the day's coming this Saturday, and, just excited is all I can say. I keep saying that over and over and over again.
Guys, if you have questions, you can't make it, or for whatever reason, please reach out to us personally. We'll figure out how we could potentially get you the recordings or whatever it is. We aren't going to sell the recordings. You have to buy an actual register to come to the event. So if you can't make it, please do reach out to us. We'll figure something out to help you out so that you can still get, because like I said, this isn't just, hey, we want to put on an event and make some money. We want to help you and help as many people as possible in this. And we have a guest speaker too. So an expert, bringing in an expert about design and decor. We forgot to mention that, John. Tatiana. She's coming in and she's going to tell you about design and decor and show you some examples on how that can improve revenue as well. Not just, go buy $100,000 worth of furniture, but just small and simple things, what we talked about, like in the photos, like adding greenery or simple things that you can do. All going to be super valuable, very in-depth. We will take a lunch break because we're going to bend your minds. We're going to make you work in terms of like thinking. So you're going to take notes and reach out to us if you have any questions. And we look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see you guys there. We're excited. And I know you are too.